Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Today is part 2 of things not to say to a grieving widow or widower. And first off, remember, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell if these videos are helpful to you or somebody else. Appreciate that very much. I also want to say thank you. The last video that I did got a lot of really good feedback. I was nervous about it because it touched on religion and it touched on things you shouldn't say to somebody. And all of that's very subjective. And so the feedback that I got was amazing. There was only a couple of comments in there that were upset about the topic. Excuse me. So thank you. I appreciate that. And that really kind of helped me move forward with these next ones. And so this is part 2. And what I'm going to talk about are some comments that are just kind of like empty phrases or things to fill the void or just plain hurtful. And so it'll be interesting to see your guys' comments on these. So as I go through them, make sure you leave comments and let me know what your thoughts are on these. I do have my notes right below the camera, so as I'm looking down, I'm making sure that I'm catching a couple things that I don't want to forget to say. So the comments versus the comments that we've gotten in the past that are similar to these versus things that our friends and family are saying are two very different things. In the comments section of our videos, both from Sarah's cancer vlog and these ones, the comments that people are giving are for encouragement, and there's very few things you can say in a comment that show that solidarity, that support, that love, that kindness. So using some of these different phrases in the comments is very different than saying it to somebody face to face. So keep that in mind. The comments, you guys, nobody has hurt our feelings. Nobody has made us upset. Nobody has annoyed us. And things that don't follow our same belief system are okay. It's totally fine. And what we're doing when I look at comments is looking for the intent behind it, that care, that love and stuff. That's a lot easier to do in a comment section of a YouTube video than it is when it's your best friend saying something or a family member saying something that just goes in your heart. So it's easier to take a moment when I'm reading comments and appreciate the intent behind it versus the abruptness of it. So before I get into this list, which I think I have 10, I want to remind everybody that not all widows and widowers are the same. Some of these comments, some of these things that we say might be annoying to me or might make me hurt inside, but not another person. So it's really important to understand and know the person that you're talking to. And it's okay, I think, from my perspective, to ask them if you've said something hurtful or if there are things that are hurtful. And what I really appreciated about the last video and the comments section is there was a lot of people saying, well, what can I say? If these things may be hurtful, what are some things that aren't as hurtful? And I've got a list of those as well. Unfortunately, it would be a really long video to do all of this at once. So I do have some of those, but a couple of the most common things that people shared were helpful. Actually, I'm gonna do one. The most common thing is silence, and sometimes that silence with an embrace. We don't have to fill that space. So silence is sometimes better than any words at all, even words of encouragement. So that was something that I found for me was helpful. When there were no comparisons, there were no apologies, you didn't do anything. There were there were no words, and it was just love. And even in comments, like when I comment to other people that are going through similar things in their YouTube videos, I will literally type no words, sending love. Simple. So that is one thing that was helpful. And a second one, a lot of people said, don't ask what you can do, just help. If you see something that you can help with, especially early on, just do it. I had family members just coming in and doing dishes for me, and that was amazing. Even if things were put in the wrong spot, that's okay. It's all good. I found them. But it was helpful. It was one less task that I had to do. So you don't necessarily need words, but there's different ways to support people without saying anything at all. You don't have to ask to do those things. Just do them. Unless your person is like, no, get out of my kitchen. All right. So the list today isn't in any specific order, and these aren't all things that I've heard myself, but they're things that a grief group shared with me that they've heard and that were hurtful or frustrating or annoying or empty. And a lot of these ones I labeled when I was kind of organizing as empty because they're there to fill space in an uncomfortable silence. And uncomfortable is a world that we live in as a widower. And so it's okay for the people around us to embrace that discomfort and let there be silence. So the first one on the list that I have is his race was ran. Her race was ran. It's empty. That does no good for anybody at all. Right? That doesn't do that. I don't even know why somebody would let that come out of their mouths. I've got no specific words for it, but there's just such a big emptiness in those words that it's just useless and hurtful. All right, no other words. Grief is grief. Get over it. I'm gonna be respectful and not flip off all the people that have said this, because lots of people say this. And there's lots of different types of grief. You're grieving a grandparent, especially a grandparent that you may not be close to, is something that you can kind of get over and move on. A mortal enemy. Grief is grief. You can get over it and move on. A child, a parent, your person, you can't just get over it. So that's just a hateful, mean thing to say. Yeah. That's all there is to it. One that kind of lines up with that is I didn't put it in order. If you don't stop grieving and move on, you will ruin your children's lives. So all of the people that are in this group also have kids, and we're relatively young. So children are involved for everybody that is sharing with me. And that statement, if you don't stop grieving and move on, you'll ruin your children's lives, that's completely wrong. And you can talk to most psychologists, the ones that I've talked to and the ones that a lot of these people have talked to, want you to share your grief with your kids, want you to cry in front of your kids, take your time as you need, work on the coping skills that you've had so your kids can also learn to gain these skills, because they are grieving as well in a different way. Now, there can be some moments or some scenarios where, yes, grief can take over and create such a high level of depression that it's not safe for our kids. But 99.9%, I'm making that number up, percent of the time, people say things like this when we are having a rough day. Not a rough year, which we all are having a rough year as well, but a rough day where we cry more than we smile. And it's okay to have those days, and we're gonna have those days. So somebody that says if you don't stop grieving, it's gonna ruin your kids' lives, well, they are wrong, period. Trying not to say anything mean about those people. There's the next two that I'm gonna mention are about age, because like I said, a lot of us are young with children. And so we have, you're still young. So if somebody came up to me and was like, you're still young, I think that happens a lot to women more. It's the idea that there is there's a knight in shining armor that's going to be out there and save you and make you feel whole again. And being young doesn't take away all of the hurt. and telling somebody that they're young and you're going to be able to replace your person because you're young is dumb. Period. None of us are working to replace our person. Maybe there will be another person, commonly referred to as chapter 2 of their life, but they're not replacing their person. They may find another person. That love for their person that died isn't going away. It's just a new love being shared with a new person. And just because you're young doesn't mean it's easier. In fact, a lot of us would argue it's a whole hell of a lot harder because we didn't get our 50-year anniversary. We didn't get our 60-year anniversary. We didn't get to watch them enjoy their grandchildren. We didn't get to watch them enjoy their own children. So being young sucks when your person has died and you're grieving. On kind of a similar note, at least your kids are young. No, that doesn't help. Not at all. Not in any way in the slightest. A couple of my friends that I've met through these groups have babies with their person that died. And that's a whole nother level of grief because you are now seeing all of the things that your person that died will never see, all of those milestones. And with the same knowledge that that kiddo has no memory. And so if you want them to have a memory, you have to help them create a memory. Create essentially a storybook in their brain of who that person was. And with my youngest being 3, I'm in kind of a limbo spot. She's gonna have some memories, and because we have all these videos, she's gonna have more memories already built. But we are going to have to rehash the death of our person for many, many, many years to come, and work with the trauma of our kiddo because they will never know their parents. And so that's going to be a constant rehashing, not just for the kid, but also for us as the widower, and trying to support that kiddo that doesn't have a memory that you are trying to build, right? So at least your kids are young. Don't say it. It's not worth it. All right. We've talked about our new normal. It's a phrase that I'm not a big fan of, but it's a reality. But going up to somebody and saying, hey, how's the new normal? It's not helpful to help us remember that our normal is dead. All right, the next one is it will get better in time. This is one of those ones that I think can be helpful coming from the right people, but it also can be hurtful not coming from the right people. And it's hard to know if you're the right person or not, because a best friend can be the right person until they say the wrong thing. A family member can be a best friend until they say the wrong thing. I've had people say this to me, and my mind says, how the hell will you ever know that? You have never gone through this. You haven't gone through anything like it. So why would you tell me this? And then I've had people that have gone through this and say it to me, and I'm like, you are 3 years in, you seem to be doing pretty well, and I appreciate that input because I can see that your life and you and your mental health have improved, and so it's appreciated. So this is one of those ones. It will get better in time. Is one of those ones where it's not devastatingly hurtful, but it can cause tension, frustration, and hurt. All right, you need to make new memories. We know, we don't need reminders. We're working on it, and it's hard, and it sucks, because each one of those new memories is a memory without that person. And also, each time we make a new memory, it's a reminder of the last time we did something with our person. So for example, I have my first Thanksgiving coming up without Sarah. I have first Christmas coming up without Sarah. First time I go snowboarding without Sarah. The first time Braden went back to school without Sarah. It's also a reminder of the last time Sarah was there when Braden went to school, the last Thanksgiving that Sarah was there, and the last Christmas that Sarah was there. So we don't need reminders that we need to make new memories, because every day is a new memory and it hurts. And we don't need to be reminded of that hurt because we've already got it. So instead of reminding us to make new memories, make some new memories with us. Positive ones. They would want you to be happy and live. This is a tough one for me personally because I agree. And I don't mind people saying that to me. But there was a lot of people that really found this hard to hear from other people. And the reason it works for me is I hang on to this with dear life. I just, this phrase is what I've decided is my motivator to do the day, every day, and live it and love it and be as happy as I possibly can. It's why I do these videos, because I know Sarah wants me to be happy and live my best life, and the kids live their best life. And so this one is really important to me. But being reminded that that's what they wanted hurts. Or that's what they would want hurts. Nobody knows our people, that person that died, better than us. We are aware. Maybe veer on the side of not telling us things we already know. Because some of those things, for some of us, we're trying to block out for a while. And we need to. We need to block certain things out. And everybody has their own things. Okay? All right. This is, in my opinion, the stupidest thing that I've seen on the list that I've really looked at. I haven't read every single thing on my list closely, but this has got to be the stupidest one. Death is easier than divorce. Now, I haven't been divorced, so I can't talk about what it's like to have been divorced. I have talked to people that have been divorced, and a lot of divorce sucks, and there's a lot of work involved. And there are some positive divorces where the people are still friends and it was amicable. But when there's a divorce, oftentimes, not all the time, there's a couple people that are still taking care of the kids. And it may not be a pretty sight. It may not be exactly what you want, but there is that the two parents are still there with the kids, or not with, but shared. But there's a lot of things that co-parenting that are possible with a divorce. When somebody dies, that's all gone, and there's financial implications, there's parenting implications, there's mental health implications. I'm not saying that those don't exist in divorce, but there are choices in divorce, and there's two parties that can help make those choices, whereas with death, it's final. There's no working through the issues. You just have to do life. And I don't think it's possible to compare, and I don't think it's okay to compare divorce to death. They both have their struggles, and my bias, and the bias of this entire group, is, and there's people in here that have been divorced and had their person die. Our bias states that having your person die is worse than divorce. So, like I said, all of this stuff is subjective, you guys, and I definitely want to hear your thoughts, see your thoughts in the comments. So please share. And that is it for this one. This list is half of this part. So I'm going to do part 3 is going to be the other half of this group of comments that people say. So that's that. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments as well. Have a wonderful day, morning, night, wherever you are. Remember, be kind, make good choices. And just as a reminder, sometimes silence and a hug with love is better than words at all.